What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the first episode of my 1976 F150 build. My name is Joey, and this is the truck. So this is the truck. It's a 1976 F150. It's two-wheel drive. It's got a 460 engine, a C6. It's a Ranger XLT. And I'm going to be putting Crown Vic front suspension in it and Lincoln Mark 8 rear suspension in it. I bought it this summer. I paid $1,940 for it. The guy told me he owned it for about 10 years. He was restoring it, and I don't know, it was his daily driver. Guy wasn't really much of a mechanic or good at restoration, as you can tell, because it's rusting pretty badly. He started doing body work on it really badly. He told me he replaced the head gaskets, the tranny's leaking. Yeah. So, it's pretty beat up. Here's the front of it. Sorry about the camera. Full of Bondo. Big chunk right there. Huge dent, holes in the doors. I don't think he actually sanded the paint before he put the primer on. Yep, Bondo, rust, lots of Bondo, really thick. I chiseled a huge chunk off here. Here's the Crown Vic front suspension. I got it from U-Polar Parts, paid $120 for it. And then I've also got a new core support right there. Big chunk of steel for the boxing plates. Yeah. I got that trim piece right there. Put that back on. I'm probably not going to restore the body on this thing. Just patch a few holes. I'm probably going to replace the doors because those are really rusty. The bottoms of them are completely gone. They don't look bad from here, but dual gas tanks. That one tank is rusted out and pulled out. This one tank is also rusty and it leaks really bad, so I need to replace that. So yeah, I drove it home, sort of. It was pretty sketchy. I had no rear brakes and I had a bad booster. So we limped it over to my friend Cody's house and swapped out the bleeder screws and front calipers and limped it here. And then I totally redid the rear brakes and then replaced the booster. But the front brakes, the calipers, the bolts that hold the calipers on are all snapped off. So just another reason to do the Crown Vic swap. Let's see. Got some 80s mirrors on here that the guy put on. No door panel on this side. Doors hacked up. Super rusty. This is junk. Factory air conditioning truck. Came with all the options. I'm definitely getting rid of this Grant steering wheel because this looks terrible. We got the fancy Lariat headliner in there, or Ranger XLT headliner. Matching seat under that seat cover. Whole truck is just stacked full of parts in it because I'm going to start on the Crown Vic swap today, actually. Yeah, we got these custom Red Dragon floor mats. So, yeah, that's how this side looks. We'll walk around to the other side just so you can see it. The toolbox there. I've got that piece of trim too that's going to go back on. I put on marker light delete plates from an Econoline van. Going to repaint those though so they match the primer a little better. Pretty rusty. You know, it's a typical Minnesota truck. been driven forever. So here's the outside. Here's the engine. 460, really loud. Definitely needs a new power steering pump. I've got a Saginaw unit for it. Got headers, shorties, new brake booster. Added an overflow jug from a 90s Bronco. HEI distributor, plastic radiator. It's got 3-inch exhaust, Flowmaster 40s. Terrible exhaust leak on this side. The truck only has 96,000 miles on it, which I think is original mileage. It's pretty beat up, but like the whole truck is not destroyed, you know. So yeah, there's the engine. HEI distributor, I put that in just because I put the truck in to flush the coolant and do the thermostat, and when I put the thermostat back on, the truck wouldn't start, and wire had snapped off in the distributor. So I don't really recommend doing an HEI. It actually cost me a lot more money than just replacing it with a stock distributor would. But and that's because HEI distributor is a lot bigger and doesn't clear the stock thermostat. This is a thermostat housing from a 95 to 97 F250 with a 460. Also have to get a hose. There's the part number for that, just in case you do want to do HEI swap in your 460. Yeah, and I was doing the thermostat because I popped open the radiator and everything inside was just dark brown. And that was really gross. The guy told me he did the head gaskets last summer, and there is a receipt for him. I'm not really sure if he actually did, but if he did do it, he also did the water pump and didn't paint it because that's extremely rusty. And he must have just put straight water in it and just let it sit, and rust got everywhere. I took about 2 days flushing the coolant system out, and I've pretty much replaced everything in the coolant system now. New thermostat housing, new hoses. He put a new radiator in. I just put a new cap on today. I've got that overflow tank. And after replacing all of that stuff and driving it around for a little bit, I blew up my heater core, which is why it is looped off right here. So that's something else we're going to be replacing in the future. Yep, I put this in. This is out of a 90s Bronco that I got out of the junkyard. Fits really well. Definitely recommend adding one of these if you have one of these trucks. And I just took the stock bracket off the 90s truck and trimmed it down and made it fit real nice, and it just bolted up to the fender. The guy who owned it before me was absolutely terrible at wiring. There's all kinds of wire nuts and splices and everything in this truck. Really want to get rid of all that. This blue wire right here, we replaced it, but it goes from here to here, about a foot maybe. And it was three wires spliced together. I stripped about 12 feet of wire running from the radio and just around the truck over to the battery. The guy kept saying kept blowing fuses and starter solenoids, and that's probably why. The taillights were rewired because he did those incorrectly. Right now I have a problem where if I turn on my heater fan it kills my gauges. It pops the fuse for those. So that's something I need to figure out. Yeah. So I have a lot of stuff planned for this truck. We're going to fully redo the interior. I'm doing it all in black. I've got Bronco bucket seats that I'm putting in it. These are out of a 78 to 79. And we're going to be installing those with seat brackets from a 67 to 72 truck that came with bucket seats. I'm going to be installing the 80 to 96 door seal mod. I've got that Saginaw power steering pump that I'm putting in. I want Crown Vic wheels front and rear. And I'm going to be building this truck. I'm going to build the engine. I'd like to have about 500 horsepower. And the goal with this thing is to autocross. So we're going to be putting coilovers under it as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please subscribe, follow along with the build. It's going to be really fun.